the idea of non-personalized recommendation engines is you imagine at this moment in time, anyone who's a brand new user going onto YouTube, this is probably what they're going to receive. Maybe filtered by like location, perhaps filtered by if Google has the information on your age or things like that, sure. But for the most part, there's not too much personalization going on here. Basically, new user, what are the top trending videos right now? This person is very likely to click on one of these videos. So it might seem very simple, but it's actually used more than you would expect. First of all, it's like when you don't have any information about a user, right? Like if you are, I don't know, if you're from Mars and you come onto Earth and you're like, I want to use YouTube, they have zero information about you, they will use a non-personalized recommendation engine. If you are a brand new company or store and you want to push products to customers, maybe instead of trying to figure out what each individual person would like, maybe you push your most popular product. Maybe you push the product that you think will get you the highest ROI. You can definitely do that as well. So non-personalized recommendation engines, very simple. You literally just pick which one you want to recommend out of like your inventory. But there are a lot of, it's highly underrated, a lot of use cases. All right, so let's talk about the next one, content-based recommendation engines. So when you think about content-based recommendation engines, you start to get a little bit more personalization, and content-based recommendations will be kind of similar to actually even more recent. If anyone's on TikTok, if you start to like interact with anything that's like in one specific realm, for example, if I'm really into like cooking TikTok videos, you realize that all of your future TikTok recommendations are all going to be cooking videos. That I think, I haven't really looked into TikTok's recommendation algorithm, but it sounds like it's very similar to a content-based recommendation engine. So what a content-based recommend engine does is it makes recommendations based on an item's features. And what features are, let me pull this up in a bit. Imagine this is Netflix database of movies. So we have a bunch of movies, movie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for now. And every movie has different features, which is the data science word for characteristics. So a movie can have many different characteristics, many different features. So for example, maybe every movie does have genre, maybe multiple genres as well. You have who's acting in the movie, who directed the movie, what year it came out. Maybe they also have their like IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes scores. And the whole idea behind content-based recommendation engines is if you know that person A likes item 1, you want to recommend person A items that are very, very similar to item 1. That makes sense, right? So let's say I'm on Netflix for the first time and the first 5 movies I watch are all horror movies. Chances are, if it's a content-based recommendation engine, you're going to get recommended a lot more horror movies. And how exactly does that work? If you have all of this information, and let's say we just have information on movie title and genre, and let's say horror is one of the genres that we have. Let's say in this small movie catalog, we have horror movies, comedy movies, and I don't know, dramas, for example. And let's say movies and the movie title and the genre is all we have. If we know that I have seen 5 horror movies and watched the entirety of these horror movies, very likely we want to compare and see, okay, what other movies are also horror movies? We will recommend that. And this can be expanded into the other features as well. Let's say for horror movies, I specifically like horror movies with, I don't know, I don't know too much about horror movies. I don't know why I came up with this example, but let's change it. Let's say I really like the Avengers. Let's say I really like the Avengers movies, superhero movies. And then I've seen like all the Marvel movies. And let's say Netflix has all of these movies on their catalog. I've seen all the Marvel movies. What should they recommend next? They'll probably look at genre, okay, different genres, but perhaps they're going to look at different actors, for example. So in the Marvel movies, they've got Robert Downey Jr., they've got, who are the others? Scarlett Johansson. Perhaps you can also use those as features and look for what other movies are Robert Downey Jr. in, what other movies are Scarlett Johansson in. And so doing that kind of comparison between the different items in your catalog, that's how you do content-based recommendations.